Oh, what? Did I make it? Wait, did I do it? Ah, they gave it to me. I like that. This game's pretty forgiving like that. Hell yes. Alright, really quick, let me see what you guys are saying. Your favorite AVGN episode is Batman. Good to see all the different kinds of Batman games. You like the Ninja Gaiden episode because of the training montage. Yeah, it's like always reminded me of like the Rocky montages they would do. I like training montages. A Real Dr. Nog says my favorite episode is the Nintendo Power one because it gives me insight into the magazine and the time period since I never had it. Yes, I also really like that episode. That is the question that James gets the most, other than like what's the worst video game he ever played. That's probably the number one. But the number two is what was in the stapled page in the Nintendo Power episode. Everybody likes to ask James that question. Second most asked question. Azalien22 says the best AVGN episode is definitely Action 52. The way he slowly ramps up the anger as it goes from thinking he got a great deal to realizing it's just a bunch of shit. The summary rant at the end is the best one too. Yeah, that's also a great episode. I know that's one of the most people love that episode. That one, I remember that was at that time that was a big request. One of the biggest requests actually back then. And I remember that earlier on, because I think that was a few years into AVGN, right? Earlier on, before that, we were going to do that pretty early on, but James wasn't really sure how to do it at first because there was 52 games, so he's like, well, what am I going to do, 52 reviews? It was like too much, but eventually he just... You saw the episode and you know how it turned out, but yeah, it was a while for James to figure out exactly how he was gonna make that episode because he didn't want to do 52 full-length reviews or whatever. He also, like, here's the other thing is the fact that there's 52 games, but even if he spent 1 minute on each game, which isn't a lot of time for a game, you know, to review a game in 1 minute, it's not a lot of time. So there's 52 games. So imagine if he spent 1 minute on each game. That'd be 52-minute long episode. And that was the problem in making that episode initially. So I think what had happened was that some of the games he just made like a quick comment about, and other ones he'd spent a little longer on, and that kind of thing. That's what I remember about him doing that. Our Clath says favorite episode is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Revisited because the nerd actually tries to rationalize why the game is actually a masterpiece, and then James delivers the best spoken line he's ever done as the nerd. Or you can just say the game fucking sucks. You know, the thing about the game sucks is that that's the first line he utters in the Simon's Quest video. This game sucks. That episode, the Simon's Quest episode, was before he really developed the nerd into a character. That actually wasn't really until the next episode. Really, the Simon's Quest episode is James's real opinion on that game. But that first line is such an iconic nerd line. Even though it's James, I mean, the nerd comes from James's brain or whatever. But it sounds more like AVGN than James. But if you listen to that review, it's very much James talking. You know? Because he didn't know there was going to be more videos about that after that. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties on 3DO was amazing because it was so bizarre. Nothing made sense at all, and James barely even needed to make the joke. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That game is so funny to begin with. It's kind of like, it almost writes itself. Shadow Man says mine is either A Nightmare on Elm Street because I love when he clones himself and there's 4 of him complaining. I love that too. And we did that again in the Mega Man episode. Or the Dark Castle because he gets so angry and tortures the games. I at some point might do a live stream of Dark Castle because it's like a shitty hard game. It's like a, you know, Superman 64. Remember those like bats or whatever the hell they are? They're like with the annoying noise. I definitely want to stream that game. Yeah, the part where he clones himself though is very much isn't it funny, the idea of you have to do a lot of special things with these nerd videos because they're not just like what I'm doing here or Let's Play or something. The idea that even though it's like if I was filming myself right now, but I wanted to have multiple ones of me. Like, I'd be sitting here, and then the other parts, like, I'd have to maybe get in front of a green screen or something like that, depending on what you're doing, and then kind of, like, put yourself into the shot. So it's weird, some of the things that have had to be done in the series where you're like kind of green screening yourself into your own room for certain kinds of special effects depending on what you gotta do. I remember he takes the game and he throws it over his shoulder, and then the game lands in like a Mario trash can that I think I bought off eBay. But I remember James, he throws the thing. I wasn't there, but he told me about it. He threw the game over his shoulder. It goes up in the air and then comes down, and it kept missing the trash can. You keep missing the target. Like a poor marksman, you keep missing the target. He kept missing the target of the trash can. So what he did was he did a split screen thing, and all he did, he just dropped the game into the garbage can. He just dropped the game into the garbage can from above it, and then just did a split screen, and that's how he got it to land in. Because like he's looking forward, he's doing his rant, blah 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 blah, and then he goes like this. It's hard to get something to land in a trash can behind you, and he was just like, fuck this, I'll do a split screen thing. But anyway, that reminds me of like the kind of special effects that would have to be done when he multiplied himself in the Nightmare on Elm Street episode. Also, when he did the Mega Man episode, I love so much how in that episode how James picked the most confusing because it was going to be a time travel episode. The nerd goes whatever into the past to talk to himself or whatever, and eventually because he's gonna like, the idea is like, oh, what if the nerd retired or something, and he had to convince himself to not retire was like the idea. But then so he goes into the past, but when he goes into the past, he doesn't only just go into the past, he goes into the past in a dream. So James thought it was funny to make it even more confusing because it's so ridiculous not just to go into the past, because in the Nightmare on Elm Street episode there's all the multiple nerds because it's in the middle of a, you know, Freddy Krueger thing where he's having the dream sequence, and I think that was really funny for him to choose that moment to bring himself back into. So yeah, definitely I agree with you. Good episode from eBay. Nice find, Mike. Oh, the trash can? Yeah, I had a I don't know, I've been into collecting. I have a trash can. I don't know if I showed you. I should show you guys, but I collect the metal vintage trash cans. So I had the first day James and I ever met, I've told this story before, but I had a metal Pac-Man trash can, and then whatever, I'm not gonna tell that story again, but he threw up on my arm, but I tried to get the metal Pac-Man trash can under him, and whatever. Anyway, then I had the Legend of Zelda trash can after that. I don't know what happened to that. I had the fucking Legend of Zelda trash can, but then then I got the, I think I had a Cubert trash can too, but I got the Super Mario Brothers vintage trash can, and that's in the nerd room. I got it for, like, I like to dress the set, so I got that, and it's like the Mike Tyson's thing. I got that for James as a Christmas or birthday present or something, the stand-up thing. You'd like to see a Star Trek episode with Jerry Seinfeld as Captain Kirk? Okay, so I think that has nothing to do with AVGN. This is just, that's what he wants to say.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.